Hi everybody, in today's video we have 3-week-old Labradoodle puppies, and we're going to give you an update on all these puppies and what they've done over the past week. We're going to tell you a little bit about each puppy, and we're going to spend a little bit of time focusing on Pink Color Girl here, as we almost lost her between last year and this year. Just between the 31st and the 1st, we almost lost this little girl to an infection. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and you can see they're starting to problem solve as Purple Color Girl has her new approach to how to be sure she gets a spot at the milk bar. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Labradoodles, and these 3-week-old Australian Labradoodle puppies are mini Labradoodle puppies, and they're from our Holiday Magic litter. So in the past week, we've had a lot going on with the puppies in terms of major accomplishments and milestones. So when we did their 2-week update, we told you all about how they had their eyes open. And now they all also have their ears open. So everyone can hear, everyone can see, and they are all moving around. You can see how well they move around. You see how Green Color just shoved Purple Color Girl right out of her spot there. I'm going to see if there's another one there she might enjoy. And he's going to do the mountain dog thing now. And you can see Blue Collar standing up there, so we've got some really good mobility going on with these puppies. And you can see they're all starting to fight a little bit more for spots at the milk bar. They're not content to just sit around and wait because they have bigger appetites. Now Posy here is having a nice relax, giving them full access to the milk bar top and bottom. And you're going to notice that these puppies are still going to be hungry, and her milk bar is going to have become empty. So what are we going to do about that? Well, first of all, 3 weeks, you can start giving puppies some solid food. Just very much of a cereal type of food. So it's going to be more of a mush that we make up with pablum and goat's milk, and some pumpkin in it to help keep their tummies happy. So that's what we're probably going to start doing. Maybe on Wednesday. Today is Monday. They were born on a Monday, so I think we'll probably wait till Wednesday. Usually we wait until the puppies are 4 weeks old to give them any solid food, but I can tell these puppies are not getting the amount of food that they want. They want more, and they should have as much as they need. So we're giving Posy also some herbal supplement. It's called fenugreek. People use it as well when they need to increase their milk supply. And we're also trying to get her to eat more. Posy is a little bit reluctant to eat as much as she should be. So it's a lot of hand feeding and a lot of making sure what we're offering is some of her favorite items. So that's what's going on in the milk bar. And now the story about Pink Color Girl. What happened here? Well, I weigh the puppies every day. As you know, this is a very important part of being a Labradoodle breeder and caring for your litter of puppies, that you are constantly weighing them, and that you're well aware if anything is going sideways right away. These puppies look really strong and healthy and robust, and so they are. However, they're very tiny, and they can go from this to being dead, literally, within hours. It takes very little time for them to become dehydrated and hypoglycemic and just not able to deal with anything that might be bothering them. So what happened with Pink Color Girl here was on New Year's Eve, when I weighed her, she was down to 600 grams, and she'd been 732 grams on December 30th. That's a shocking loss. That's way too much of a loss for a puppy. That's a dangerous loss. And she was what we call flat. And when the puppy is flat, it's literally that. They're lying flat in the whelping box. She had no strength to get up. She would not eat. She couldn't do anything, and she had terrible diarrhea, and she was vomiting. So it was only going to be a very short window we had to get her recovered. So what do we do? Well, fortunately, we have a wonderful relationship with a fantastic vet, and we were able to get her seen on the New Year's Eve just to double check. I pretty much knew what to do. I was already giving her an antibiotic. We have sub-Q fluids here, which is how you rehydrate a puppy when they are dehydrated. And how do you know they're dehydrated? Well, you take their back fur here, you twist their coat, and see how that just snaps right in? This puppy is fully hydrated because his fur goes right back down. When they're dehydrated, it stays up. It takes a long time before it goes flat. And so what's a sub-Q fluid? It's called Ringer's solution. It's the same thing people get in an IV, in an IV drip if they're in the hospital. These puppies are too small for an IV. So what you do is you take the needle, you just pull up the neck skin here, and you can see hers is kind of roughed up here because we have done 3 sub-Qs with her. You take the needle, you insert it subcutaneously, and then you inject the appropriate amount of solution. For her, that was 10 mils a day. And the fluid makes the puppy revive and feel better even more than giving them nourishment does. It's just remarkable. When they're dehydrated, they just can't cope and can't do anything. Once they're hydrated, they're starting to improve already. So she had a very high temperature, and we were battling that temperature, and she was having just a terrible time with the vomiting and the diarrhea. So the antibiotic deals with the diarrhea, but not so much the vomiting. The vomiting, there is a drug called Serenia you can use for dogs who are nauseous, but it's not a drug that we like to use on infant puppies like this. The only thing that we ever really like to use on infant puppies like this is Clavamox. Clavamox is a very gentle, very broad spectrum antibiotic, and that was what I had put her on when she got sick, and that is what she remains on now. She'll stay on that for 5 days, and it has no lasting impact or serious side effects on a puppy and their development. And then she still was not getting over things. So we were tube feeding her. And tube feeding is just like it sounds. You take the tube, you insert it through the puppy's mouth, down their throat, right down into their stomach. We measure down to past this last rib or first rib, however you like to see that. And this is where the tube ends, so that the food empties directly into her stomach. Now, of course, you have to be very, very cautious when you're doing this because you don't want to put the food into their esophagus or their lungs, because then, of course, they would aspirate and die. So you have to do it very carefully. We also make the formula that we supplement our puppies with when something like this happens. There are commercial formulas available which are fine. They're okay if you're only going to give them to puppy maybe once or twice as a little bit of a boost, but they definitely are not a replacement formula. For that, we make our own so that there is enough actual nutrition for the puppy to be able to regain their strength and also get to put some weight back on. So we were tube feeding her every 3 hours, and she was still having the terrible diarrhea, really, really bad diarrhea. So I have a little magic potion that I make up that over the 42 years of breeding dogs that I've been doing, I've figured out what works. It's really simple. It's all natural. So it's a little bit of a product called Nature Mate, which is just a gel. And Nature Mate is something we always have on hand, because if you have a puppy born, and perhaps there was a reason why they didn't get out of the sack quickly. Maybe mom was a bit slow opening the sack, maybe they were a breech baby. So if they're a little bit, they're not really performing the way you want, it would be like if a human baby had a bad APGAR score. Then we give them Nature Mate, just the tiniest little bit of this gel, and it also has colostrum in it, but it also has quite a bit of glucose, and it just bumps them up enough that they can carry on. So my little magic potion has a tiny bit of that. It has a tiny bit of slippery elm, which is a natural product for treating digestion issues, and then 1 drop per day of colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is a controversial thing. The silver never leaves your body. However, it is a natural antibiotic and it can do wonders. It's something I've used many times in many circumstances and always been totally amazed at the result. People use it as well as dogs. So I gave her the magic potion, and after she had the magic potion, so we had her at 600 grams. That was her when I weighed her on New Year's Eve morning. We got her up on January the 1st to 622 grams. Then at 11 o'clock when we fed her again on New Year's Day, she'd gone down to 615. But at 2 o'clock when we fed her again, we didn't actually have to feed her. We weighed her and she was 663 grams. Yay! She was starting to recover. And then at 5, when we did it again, she had dropped down 10 grams. So we gave her a half shot of her feeding supplement by tube feeding her. Hi, BB girl. I'm sure now when she sees me, she goes, oh no, that lady's going to stick that tube down my throat. It's actually Reynolds who does all the cooking, making of the formula and putting the tube down their throat. I just push the syringe to get it into them. So we gave her that little half portion. Then we checked her again at 8 that night. She was up to 678 grams. At 11 last night, she was up to 692 grams. And then this morning when we weighed her just now, she's 709 grams. So she's okay. She's turned the corner. She's going to make it. She had, our vet figured, about a 50-50 chance. And yesterday, before she had gained the weight, she was flat again, and we were prepared for the worst. We really didn't think she was going to make it. But the little girl did. Yay! She did okay. So what was the matter with her? Well, probably, we haven't done a fecal analysis yet because when I took her into the vet, the only place she had her diarrhea was on one of these mats that we have here, and we couldn't scrape enough off of this. This is very absorbent. These are hospital pads, so we couldn't scrape enough off to do the analysis. So tomorrow I will take a sample in and confirm what my suspicion is. I think she had coccidia. We have, unfortunately, coccidia on our property. When you have it, it's there. It never goes away. Well, where did that come from? Rabbits. We have a ton of rabbits and we have a ton of deer that go through our property. Rabbits are the #1 carriers of coccidia. About 30 to 40% of all dogs always have coccidia. They're just asymptomatic. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't impact a normal mature dog. Even at 8 weeks, coccidia isn't such a big problem. What you crying for? Hey, what's the matter? There isn't any more food right now. So this is what we're hearing, is the puppies telling me they're unhappy that the milk bar is empty. So that's why we're going to start offering them some solid food. Anyways, coccidia comes in with the mums. They go out to go to the bathroom, they get it on their feet, they get it on their fur, wherever they get it, or they've licked something, something's happened, and they pass it on to the puppy. And what happened with Pink, so obviously everybody would have had the coccidia and nobody else was impacted. But what would have happened with Pink is she was not fighting it off well, and then there was a second bacterial overgrowth. And it's that second bacterial overgrowth that is the infection that caused all the problems. And what the real risk is there is if she hadn't died because we hadn't gotten anything into her right away, so she didn't go hypoglycemic, then she would have gone septic and died from sepsis. So that's the Pink story. We're so happy that we started off 2023 with a big win, and we couldn't be more proud of this little girl. What a fighter for a little tiny thing. I tell you, she's got some pluck. She's just an awesome little girl. So now, what are we going to talk about for this week that we would normally be talking about? Well, what that is desensitization and socialization. The puppies have their eyes open. The puppies have their ears open. They are now part of the world. So dogs are part of human world. They're living with us, not the way that dogs would live. Everything we have our dogs do is pretty much something that doesn't come to them naturally. So we need to prepare puppies to be successful, living in our world, getting along with us, doing the types of things we want them to do, and also for us to provide them with all the things they need so that they're happy and have a great life. So desensitization is just a process where you expose the puppy over and over and over and over, starting with a little tiny bit and building up to something that is unfamiliar and oftentimes can be scary to them. So the things we start off with are like this. See, I got everybody's attention. You can see Green's backing up. Green doesn't like that. Blue's going to bark at me and tell me, hey, I hate that. Yellow's totally unconcerned. Purple and pink are kind of curious. Now Green's going to come out. And there's Blue's barking at me again. So see, I just keep doing this over and over and over. And then tell them what good puppies they are. Yeah. And it's okay, Mr. Blue. Yeah. And whoever it is we notice that has a particularly strong reaction, then we make sure we expose them again in maybe a little less fashion. So a little less loud, like this. See, nobody's worried. Louder. And now they couldn't care less. So it's really simple things, just like that. Noise desensitization is one of the most important things you do for your puppy because we don't want them to be afraid of everyday noises. Helicopters fly over here quite a lot. We are on the main route to get to either Nanaimo, Victoria, or Duncan hospitals. Air ambulance is frequently flying over us. And BC Hydro, we are on a major route for them when they're doing their line work and their whatever else it is that they do, transmission, I guess it is. So we have a lot of helicopter traffic here. We also have a small private airport not too far away, so we have a lot of smaller planes. And then we also have our seaplane taking off just at the beach, just over here, away from us at Maple Bay. So there's a lot of seaplane traffic noise too. And seaplanes are quite loud. So there's lots of things going on. So they hear all of those outside. We don't want them to be scared. We don't want them to be scared going home to you. You don't want to have a scared puppy. So it's all those kinds of things, as well as fireworks, thunderstorms, barking, all of those things. Sounds are very important. Now that's desensitizing. That's not the same as socialization, which we'll talk about another day, but it's the first step to socialization. And the underlying key to both of those things being successful is you do it where the puppy is not stressed. You do it so that the puppy is relaxed and happy and has a positive experience. So when we were doing this, we'll change the sound. If anybody was really scared, like we saw Green back up, if he had started to be like quite nervous, I would have stopped right away, comforted him, and then started again with a lesser sound until he was happy. So that's really what it is. And socialization is going to be the same thing when we talk about that. We start simple and slow. Same for separation. When we're leaving our dog, we start very simple, very slow, and then we build up. Oh my goodness, you are so tough. So now we have little growls. You can... There's Green giving you a little bit of an example of a puppy growl. He's pretty tough there. Oh, Posey's going to come and see what the heck he's talking about. She wants to make sure that there's no fighting or anything wrong going on. Make sure everybody's safe. Good girl. What a good mom you are. What a good girl you are. Yeah. And goodness knows what he's growling at. But you'll see now they're sort of playing. So that's Green and Blue, and they do play. And growling is part of playing with puppies. And they're also learning how to tell each other off and who is the one that's ruling the roost. Who can push around who, and that isn't going to necessarily be the puppy who's the biggest. So Blue is the heaviest puppy right now, but he is definitely not one who's growling or telling anybody off. That's more likely to be Green, who's quite vocal right now, and he'll be the one who's charging around and saying, hey, you go over here, and you do this. But don't be thinking that this is their temperament that they're going to go home with. They are going to change within the day. This will change. Pink has changed the whole makeup of the group right now because she's not been well. And you'll see how she's quite quiet still. While she's out of the woods, she's not recovered yet. She is still sick. So we still have to keep a very close eye on her and make sure she continues to be improving and not going backward. We may still need to tube feed her. We may have to do that a couple of times in a day, maybe once in a day, just to give her a little boost. So we will continue to weigh her 4 times a day until she has weight gains that are normal for each day. So in terms of weight, Purple, where are you, Purpy? Here's little Purple. Hi, baby girl. You also will see this week that the caramel color is really getting darker on them, which is actually apricot because you have a black nose. You're not a caramel, my mistake. So you can really see how much that color is coming in and darkening up. You can see the little white one there. Oh, Green is really just in all of a panic. I expect he didn't get enough at the milk barn, so he's really upset about that. I think he's going to starve to death. Yeah, you won't starve. We have a little milking station, which is just a little silicone type thing. It has 4 nipples off of it, and you can put formula in it if you have a dam like Posey who's not able to produce enough milk. So I tried that yesterday with them. They all said, "Are you out of your mind, lady? I'm not going to try that. Yuck." So I do have bottles. I may try bottle feeding him because he does seem to be hungry quite a bit. Dad, I'm talking about you. But right now we're talking about Purple Collar Girl. This is a cute little girl. She's very quiet, very, very calm puppy, very placid little personality, very sweet little girl. And Purpy is 795 grams. It's not your turn yet. Yes, I know, you want all the attention. Blue Collar Boy, this is our heavyweight. Come here, sweet boy. Now, I have been saying all along that Blue Collar Boy is apricot, but I'm going to retract that because I'm pretty sure he is going to be a caramel. His dark parts on his paws are not actually black. I think they're brown. He doesn't have any black on his lips, so I think we're pretty safe to say that he's a caramel. So he's the same color as his mummy Posey. And blue is 952 grams. So next week he's going to be over that 1 kilogram mark. Nice guy, solid little sweet, gentle giant kind of guy. Pink, who we've been talking about quite a bit. So Pinky girl, hey baby, she's gone through all of that. She's done just such a fabulous job. We couldn't be more proud of this little girl and the big fight she put up. She was just wonderful, such a trooper. Yeah, she cuddled up next to me. So we spent lots of hours. I put her right in my shirt so that she was warm. And when she was sick, I wanted to hold her upright so she would not throw up. So that was how we were able to keep some of the food and some of the meds in her initially when she was still throwing up all the time. So Pink, 709 grams. Yeah, she's going to be even more later. Oh my goodness, Green. Mr. Green. Yellow is over here. Hey, Yellow. Yellow's a softie. He's a real softie guy. Come here, buddy. Come on, buddy. He's quite independent, and he is for sure an apricot. He looks very much like Posey. He's a cute little guy with all of his little apricot and white markings. And Mr. Yellow is an even 900 grams. So he's right on the double zeros there. And finally, it's your turn, Mr. Green, now that you finally settled down and stopped your fussing and whining. So Mr. Green is our little talker this week. He's quite communicative. He is very able to explain when he is not pleased with the situation. He is an apricot party. Hi, hi. He's very responsive. He was the one who opened his ears first. Yeah, hi, hello. He loves to touch noses like that. He'll cuddle. He does like to cuddle, but he also is someone who is on the go, and he's got to go places and has things to do. And Green is the biggest puppy in the litter, or second biggest puppy in the litter at 943 grams. So he's going to be up at that kilogram mark very soon. But there we go. Now I can tell from feeling him that his stomach is not full, and I know that's what's bothering him, and he's uncomfortable because of that. So after we make this movie video, I'll go get some formula for him, and I'll see if he'll take a bottle. But if he's just going to argue with me, then, well, he'll just have to wait until we get the pan. The reason why we don't feed them right away is partially because it will upset their stomach, but it's not natural for dogs to lap. They have to learn how to do that. And when they're this young, that's generally not particularly successful. So all they do is walk all over it. And sometimes that's all right. They walk through it and they just lick it off of each other. But it does make a very sticky mess, which means then you have to bath them. And I don't like to bath them before they're 4 weeks unless it's an emergency. I did have to bath Pink when she was really ill. She was covered with diarrhea everywhere. She was just a big mess. So it's just a big mess. So we had lots of baths, didn't we? And it wasn't very popular. So that's all of our puppy news right now. We're going to give all of you on our litter list a link to a video that's going to talk about actual socialization for your puppy. And there's going to be 2 videos this week. We did one for how to socialize your puppy during COVID when there was all the restrictions, because a lot of puppies didn't get socialized and are unhappy puppies now because of that. So this gives you a lot of tips and tricks on what you can do when your movements and your social interactions are curtailed. And because it's winter, we may have COVID restrictions return. You never know. So it's good to watch both those videos. And there's lots of ways you can socialize your puppy without making a big deal out of it. It's just something you're doing already, such as if you're using our puppy starter kit, you'll have a car seat, and the car seat goes up and down so the puppy can be raised up and they can see out the window. And this is fantastic for socialization. You take them out, you're going to go out anyways. You're in the car, they're buckled in, they're safe. We have the harness that comes in your puppy starter kit, the clip for it, and the car seat, so they're completely secure. You can go by yourself because they're not going to interfere with you while you're driving. And you go by school. You just plan your trip to go out at maybe recess, lunch hour, or dismissal time. And you just park somewhere near the school and you put the window down a bit. Let the puppy listen to all the racket. Let them see all the kids running around. Or find a soccer game or something else that's going on outside. It's always good to sit near the hospital. Lots of sirens. Perfect. It's just exactly what you want. As long as the puppy's happy, as long as they're comfortable, then that's a good positive socialization experience. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Happy New Year to everybody. This is our first video for 2023. And thank you so much for all of you who sent well wishes for Miss Pink when we were posting on Facebook. I'm pretty sure all those thoughts and prayers really helped her to come along. It sure helped us feel better too. So very much appreciated all that interaction. Questions, comments? Please go ahead and post them below. If you have a sec, give us a thumbs up, and please make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week.